Please welcome on stage Oliver Lünstedt.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for having me here. I would like to quickly introduce you who we are and what we do before maybe giving you one or two insights that were helpful, that we learned and might help the one or other person that's thinking about starting a startup, and maybe you can not do the same mistakes that we did in the beginning. So what is carzapp? We started and announced our ZappKit 3 years ago here at CodeN, at CodeN 12, the first CodeN event ever, and showed our product, the ZappKit. So originally we wanted to connect private cars, we wanted to enable private car sharing, peer-to-peer car sharing. So we had a small box, which I can show you in a second, and wanted to put it into private cars so you can, like on Airbnb, rent out your car, make some money out of it when you don't need it. The problem is we needed to create a two-sided market. We needed to create an offering side, people who own cars. We needed to convince them to purchase our product, to put it into their car, and really convince them to make some money through our platform. On the other side, of course, we need people who rent the cars. And as you can imagine, it's quite costly to create such a market so that you have enough cars and enough users using these cars, so it's fun for both sides. So we then realized that it's better for us to start into a different area. We pivoted, as we say, from the B2C, from the end consumer, to the B2B market. And this doesn't really work. Sorry, this is not. There we go. Thanks. So we focus more on the part of our technology, not so much on the portal, on the platform, but on the technology. We realized we can open any car independent from the car manufacturer, and got approached by car sharing organizations and rental companies that said, hey, why can't we use your technology to make a smarter way of access possible for our clients? And that is what we call the ZappKit, our box that I mentioned. So you have different aspects of tracking, like you can track the cars via GPS when they're standing idle on the street. So you find the car, you can unlock it via smartphone, and we provide the technology, the app, and the portal to do a whole car sharing solution. That's what the software looks like. It's a white label solution. It starts next week for our first bigger customer called Santander Consumer Bank. They will enable their car dealers to start or become a mobility service provider and start selling mobility instead of just cars. So that's what we think is very interesting. And due to this, we created our peer-to-peer, our private platform. We took it to make it more professional for B2B purposes, and are now launching this product. And it can be used now not just for car sharing. We have, for example, T-Systems using it to manage access to pretty much everything that where multiple people shall go through anything that is locked, like doors, office containers, trunks for in-car delivery. And so we've really broadened the space, what you can use it for. Our clients, and this is maybe starting the story that I wanted to tell, is where I started. Like I said, we weren't really able to build up this market ourselves because we didn't have the money. We didn't get the investment here because it's a very risky market. And then changed the strategy to cooperate and find other people like the Santander Bank or T-Systems that resell our product, and really through these partners we build up the market. So for example, in Santander, they do have a base of around about 30,000 car dealers that they can address, and a base of 4 or 5 million credit customers just in Germany. So that's something where we enable them to have a more innovative product on the market that they can sell to the car dealers, while we have somebody else building up the market that we need to bring our product into place. And that's my advice, what I wanted to say here. It's called Founder Story. So my story is, if you have a product where you must create your market because the market doesn't exist yet, or it's too small and you need to broaden the market, try to find partners. Like EMBW, as you can see, is also using our product. Try to find partners that can use your product and really be multiply your customers. That's really what helped us. And my second advice in this direction would be to, if you go to, for example, big corporates, try to check out if they have an innovation department, for example, that also help with EMBW. Of course, it's a big corporate. You can't go there and say, okay, equip all your thousands of cars of your fleet with our technology, and it will work. Sure, we're a startup and don't need to test it. But rather go to the innovation departments. That's the approach that worked very well for us with EMBW and T-Systems. And yeah, that's already what I wanted to say. And I'm now open for questions. If you do have any questions regarding our story or in general, I would be glad to answer your questions. Is there anyone who has a question? No? All right. Then I will, finish it up, I would say.
Yeah, it seems you answered all questions already in your presentation. Thank you so much for joining us, Oliver.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think you'll still be here at the alumni stand upstairs.
Exactly.
If anyone does want to ask you something in private, I think they can still find you up there, right?
Exactly. We're just up there, and you can check out the technology there. So feel free to visit us.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We have one more person here from a very interesting startup that also participated in Code a few years ago. And of course, I'm speaking about Tado and Steffi Sedlak, who's going to join me on stage.
Thank you.
So you're going to talk about how the Internet of Things is actually going to improve our quality of lives,
Yes, right.
Which is something that I think everybody is very keen to hear how that is going to happen.
Yeah,
because
hopefully.
we would also like to have that increased quality of life from the Internet of Things.
Okay.
Thank
Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie. I'm from the Munich-based startup Tado, and today, as Armin already said, I will talk about the Internet of Things and how it can improve our quality of life. Yes, so just a general information about the Internet of Things and how it will develop in the next few years. As you can see in the chart I've brought you, the Internet of Things is already omnipresent and will grow immensely in the next few years. And how can the Internet of Things improve our quality of life? I love this quote. That's what I brought you today. It's about solving problems, not connecting things. So when people hear about the Internet of Things, it's always, okay, we connect this product to the internet, or we connect your fridge to Twitter, whatever. But we think it's about the Internet of Things that brings the intelligence of the web to physical products around us to improve our lives. So I brought you some examples in areas of our life that are really important for us. So for example, healthcare, so our body, safety and security. Everybody wants his home to be safe and secure. And of course, energy efficiency, an area that not only concerns individuals, but all of us together. So if you imagine a family having a baby, or elderly people, or chronically ill people, they need to go to the doctor regularly. An emergency can even be life-threatening. So now imagine that they have, for example, a smart wristband that can monitor their vital signs. They can transfer this information to hospital staff, to the doctor, and in case of an emergency, the doctor can alert it, he can react immediately, and the cool thing is, the doctor or hospital staff already knows what's happening in his body and can, in this case, also save his life. Another example, safety security at home. For example, there are already great solutions on the market for security systems that are connected to the internet. They have various detections like motion detectors, temperature detectors, humidity detectors, even cameras. So whenever you are away and you get an alert that there's a detection, a motion detection in your home, but you know that nobody is there, then you can, for example, alert your neighbors, or you can even alert the police. Or, for example, if there's a fire in your house and the system detects the temperature rise, then you can already alert the police, whoever, who can then save your family. And another big area is, of course, energy efficiency. There are already other products on the market like smart thermostats, smart Wi-Fi light bulbs, or smart plugs that can really help you save energy and also money. Of course, with tado, our smart thermostat that uses your smartphone's location to save money and energy, we are active in this field, so I would like to dive a little bit deeper into energy efficiency. So why is this so important? If we check out the world's energy consumption, over 35% are used for heating and cooling of buildings. The majority of buildings here in the European Union are really poorly insulated, and 77% of heating systems are really inefficient. And now, if we talk about the people using these heating systems, even 85% of people do not turn down the heating system when they leave the house. They just want the comfort, so they leave it running all day long. What we have now created, we're using the Internet of Things to reduce heating and energy costs. We have two products. The one hand is the tado smart thermostat used for heating systems here in the European Union. And the other one is tado cooling that controls intelligently air conditioning units. But we do not only connect your air conditioning or heating system to the internet and give you a remote control with your smartphone. We take it one step further. So your smartphone works as a sensor, and tado can therefore adjust the temperature to your life, to your daily routine, without you having to take any action. So you download the app to your smartphone, and when the last person leaves the house, the temperature is automatically turned down to save money and energy. And the cool thing, as soon as the first person starts approaching, the system reacts immediately, preheats the house, so when you arrive back home, open the door, it's already warm and comfortable. Of course, tado also integrates weather forecast data. That is really interesting if you have a slow heating system. And it also adjusts to your apartment, to the individual building characteristics. So it learns about the building characteristics of your home. It looks how quickly does your building heat up, how quickly does it cool down, and can then learn how it can heat it up in the most efficient way. Integrating weather forecast. If you imagine you have a house with big windows and the sun is shining, then you have the heating on full speed, and then you have the sunshine that influences your indoor temperatures. And tado can therefore already heat on a lower level, save money and energy, and also prevent the building from overheating. Okay, so here, tado is a mobile assistant that accompanies you wherever you are. So on the one hand, it's an assistant that takes care of your comfort and your temperatures at home without you having to lift a finger. It works like an assistant in the background. We also have a report functionality, so you can see in real time how many energy is consumed, how the temperature develops, what tado is doing for you. But whenever you would like to take control by yourself, you can just switch on the manual mode and change the temperature. Of course, tado, we already talked about energy efficiency, so we have proven energy savings. We work together with the Fraunhofer Institute of Building Physics and with the ETH in Switzerland, so you can save up to 31%. But like I said, we're not only keen on energy and saving money, but also on comfort. So you do not have to limit your comfort or change your lifestyle, but you can just live how you would like to and save money and energy automatically. With the Internet of Things, we can not only control your heating or air conditioning intelligently, but we can also provide additional services that give you peace of mind. For example, tado Care is an additional service that can monitor your heating system, and whenever there's something amiss, like a pump isn't working, it notifies the user, and either he can self-repair or he needs to call an installer. The good thing here is we make sure that the heating system is always working when you really need it. So we prevent malfunction and heating system breakdowns. And the installer then already gets the information from us what thing is broken. So he can come to the customer and has already all the parts he needs. If you imagine how in a general case this works, The user switches on the heating system, nothing is working. He calls the installer, hello, my heating is not working. Then the installer says, okay, when do we have time? I can come by. He drives to the customer, then he checks the heating, he realizes what doesn't work, then he has to go shopping, buy the right parts, come back to the customer, then he can repair the heating system. So with this additional service, the installer knows already what is amiss, he can bring the right parts, and that saves a lot of time and, of course, for the customer, money. So to do a short summary, how can the Internet of Things improve our quality of life? By providing applications and products that solves problems. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Steffi. And actually, when you mentioned it, there are 77% of people who don't turn their heating off during the day. I thought,
85.
85.
Yeah, even.
Where are those stupid people? And then I thought a bit more, and you know what I realized?
You don't do it?
Where can I get your device? On tado.com?
On tado.com, right?
I'm going to check that out. Thank you very much for your talk.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
We have one more session with a very interesting founder who set up a company that is specialized in indoor localization. And among other things, they also built the Code N app, which maybe some of you might have used during the last few days. He's going to talk to us about the potential of location-based services for smart cities. Please welcome on stage Pedro.
Thank you. So I'm going to have to move a little bit. I'm from Spain, and I have these genes that have you, move your hands. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about location-based services, okay? And location-based services is one of the things that has been there for a while, and it has been quite a bit of research going on in the past years. And now we're at the stage where things are starting to get a lot more interesting in terms of commercial applications. So. Okay. There you go. So the question is, what are these things? What are location-based services? And I'm sure everybody has used some of them. I'm sure you have a mobile phone. I'm sure you have a navigation system in your car. And I'm sure you have something that right now everybody has in their pockets, iPhones, other devices, Android phones and so on, that you use to communicate with the environment. Back in the old days, I'm talking about 2001, 2002, people thought about these kind of services and said, well, this probably something is going to be something really interesting. And the whole idea is a combination, a correlation of location, time, and any other sensory information that you might have in your system. So things like, for example, the temperature. Tado was talking about temperature. So when are things, hot? When do I have to turn the heating off, and so on? So that's definitely some kind of a service that you can use and that you can combine with this location information. So you can see here that a very old picture. You can tell it's old because it's in black and white. Of what it is, that people thought back in the beginning of the century, right, in the 2000s, what this kind of location-based services were going to be like, right? And there are things like, spatial databases, things like mobile devices, things like the internet, and you connect all of them together, and the intersection of these things are location-based services. Okay, so you have some way of connecting to the internet, some way of talking to the environment, some way of using information that's tied to a specific place, and somehow there's a backend. There's somebody that has information about what you need and what might be relevant for that location. So this is a more modern picture, which looks very similarly to that. Okay, so you see that we have not only the mobile devices on the one side, but at the same time we have other things like a communication network. So now we're more more modern. It could be the internet, but it could be also any kind of mobile device that you connect to any kind of cloud system, as you can imagine. And then you have the service provider, which could be a database, could be the cloud, could be a combination of databases. All of that stuff is obviously there. Okay. Outside, everybody uses GPS. Everybody knows that. Everybody has some kind of car or a device in their cars to do, for example, navigation. But inside, things are a little bit more difficult, right, and more complicated. So one of the things that we concentrate on as a company is to provide the infrastructure, to provide this positioning system, okay, in indoor environments. So in a place like this, you were mentioning that we have created the Code-In app, which you can download, you can use. And one of the things that we have for that, so that it works at all, is a number of beacons, a number of iBeacons that are located all over this hallway. Okay, there's about 50 of them, and what we can do with those is to create the necessary grid, if you want, of devices sending information to a mobile phone, so that this mobile phone can then use our database, okay, that is giving you information about where you are. So you see that all of these components come together, again, in a very similar way as the way that it was planned, more or less, several years ago in research, and then now we can really start, beginning to, to see and to work on. Okay. If some of you have seen the hype curve from Gartner, which is one of the very interesting and also well-known curves regarding research and how important certain technologies are, you will see that for the last year, for 2013, location-based services were really almost up to the commercial point. So, which means that all of this stuff is now here to stay, and we're happy to be in the middle of the next generation of new services. So here's an example. This slide is has some German text, but it doesn't matter, because the point is that you see the breadth of potential applications that you have related to location-based services. Okay, so things that have to do with car sharing, for example. We have some companies upstairs that do that, right? Things that have to do with navigation, that. Things that have to do with general information on a specific place. So geofencing, geomarketing, all of that stuff is there, right? And as you can see, the breadth is huge. What do you need for this? What do you need to be able to implement any of these applications? You need the infrastructure. Outside, it's easy. You have GPS. Inside, you need the right partner for this. You need companies that are specialized in doing exactly this kind of infrastructure development, installation, calibration, so that it actually works. And it's a really, really hard problem that we have been able to work on as at the university. We're a spin-off from the university, and there we have a research group of about 20 people right now. Some of them have been working on indoor localization for the last 7 years, and now we are at the point where we say, well, now we can install the systems very quickly. We can have a number of devices that we place in the environment and very quickly calibrate it and use it and so on. As an example, in this hallway, in this hall, this building, the 50 devices, we installed them on Sunday. It took us less than half an hour to do the calibration for this, for the whole area, which is obviously very, very quick. Okay. Good. So let me give you a little bit of information, getting more deeply into one specific example, which has to do with airports. So you see that we have the 3 parts that we definitely need for any kind of location-based service: the infrastructure, the services themselves. So what do you want to do with this information? And then you always have the possibility to collect data from different people and analyze it, aggregate it, and give collective information, not only about or not explicitly about one particular person, but about the group. So, for example, how is this building used? Where are mostly most people located? Where are the hotspots? Where are the white spots? And so on. Okay. So, as an example, let's talk about this infrastructure on the example of an airport. And you see that the first thing that we need is a system like the one that we have installed here. The first one is the infrastructure, the hardware itself, okay, that is located in in the building. Then you need the calibration. You need somebody. In this case, it could be our company, it could be other companies, obviously. But we would like it if you do it with us. That calibrates the system, sends the information, this positioning and this map of signal strengths and and other data to the cloud to create this positioning system that you can then use. Okay, as a user, all you need to do is then connect to the cloud with the right devices, and then you will be able to position yourself. Okay. So that's the infrastructure. Again, it's installed in this building. If you download the code and app, you will be able to use it through our cloud-based infrastructure. Services, you can imagine many different things. On the example of an airport, you might have things like, how long does it take for me to go to the gate? Where is my gate? Can I navigate to the gate? How long is the waiting time, for example, at security? Are there any deals in the shopping area that I might be able to use because I have some time? And so on. You can imagine many different things that are definitely relevant for the passengers, but also for the airport themselves, right? Knowing how the flow of people is used, for example. So in a more, let's say, technical way, what happens is there are a number of services, there are a number of databases that are located maybe in the cloud, maybe at the premises of the client, and the positioning system. And we bring all of this information together to aggregate and to provide an aggregated view of this system to implement a particular instance of that location-based service. Okay, and obviously the user just queries that, finds out what's going on, and then can benefit from it. And finally, you can do the data analysis, meaning if you have enough users that are collecting or are willing to give their information to the environment, what happens is that you can create these kind of aggregated views on the airport, for example. How are people using the airport? Which areas are mostly populated? Am I going to find a sitting place, a seat somewhere where I have to wait, or maybe I should just stop here? And so on and so on. And you can imagine that an airport is just one example. We've seen the taxonomy at the beginning, and there are many other possibilities that are all of them doable with the infrastructure that we provide as part of the services that Locoslab provides. Okay, the infrastructure is one thing. The location-based service itself is another thing. So the application, the app, the programming, if you want, of the system is the second thing, and the analysis is the third thing, and that gives you a complete picture of what's possible with this. Here you see an example of a heat map of how a building might look like if you take into account, for example, how many people were on average in that particular area. So it gives you a very nice view, and you can see that, for example, in that particular example, the lower route going into the building was not used as much as the other one. So you might want to make, I don't know, have some advertisement or some people directing people to the other place. And that's pretty much it. So you can see here some examples of the kind of analysis that you have, and all of it together is what we can offer you as a company. Thank you very much.
Ciao.